And a lot of people are cheering this, finally, all this stuff. And we did a video where we explained about why this is not good, why this is a bad thing. And if you consider Facebook and YouTube to be the new public square and you think they should be regulated, which we do, because there isn't like, well, I'm going to go to Acme's Facebook. Oh, I'll go to the other Facebook. There's no other Facebook. Do you see how that is? Hey, I'm going to go to the other YouTube. There really isn't another YouTube.
When there is an issue that seems to unite people from the left and the right, sometimes it's worth reflecting whether it is the right issue to unite behind. Today, perhaps more than ever, voices calling for more regulation of social media and big tech platforms are becoming louder. It's not surprising that an interventionist approach is coming from the populist left.
Oh, the idea that any of these giant social media platforms, which are effective monopolies, the idea that YouTube or Facebook or Twitter can just willy-nilly decide, yeah, we're going to pull down whoever we want for whatever reason we want because something vague terms of service, the principle of that thing is the problem. So what's the real solution? The real solution is that all of these different outlets should be regulated as public utilities. This is now regulated as a public utility, so the First Amendment applies.
But this message seems to resonate in the right-wing circles and begins to reach mainstream maybe even faster on the right than on the left.
Since it has the power to censor the internet, Google should be regulated like the public utility it is, to make sure it doesn't further distort the free flow of information.
But what would it mean to regulate social media as public utilities? Would it guarantee that the internet would be more free and open? Public utility usually refers to an essential service or an organization providing that service to the general public. The key word here is essential because not just any service can be defined as a public utility. Essential services are usually very basic, like building pipelines for water and natural gas or laying electric and telephone wires.
Well, good morning, Corey. Well, what I told them was, that the hearing is no longer really about the open internet rules. What the FCC is doing now is going for what's called Title II, this reclassification of the internet as a public utility.
Kyle Kulinski is 100% correct. Social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube should be regulated like monopolies because they have monopoly power. A monopoly is a single firm that sells a product. And an economist like myself knows there's 5 reasons why monopolies exist. Control of a scarce resource, economies of scale, that's a natural monopoly like a water tower system. In a natural monopoly like a water tower system, those exist because the high fixed costs of creating the entire network of running all the pipes and building the water towers and setting up the pumps and installing all the meters, there's a very high fixed cost to setting up a water tower system in a town. We have a long tradition in the United States of allowing natural monopolies like water tower systems or electrical power plants or natural gas companies to exist. And these are regulated and their profits are limited by our government. Here's a graphic that shows Xcel Energy is a private corporation, which my wife has some stock in. They're regulated as a natural monopoly here in the state of Minnesota, and they have to get approval from the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission every year when they ask for a rate increase. In 2006, here, it shows they asked for an 8% rate increase. They got a 6% rate increase. In 2013, they asked for a 10% rate increase. They were awarded a 3.8% rate increase. So natural monopolies have high fixed costs, and it's more efficient to have one water tower company or one natural gas company like Xcel Energy or one cable TV company in a town than there is 2.
Facebook and Twitter have been recently purging hundreds of alternative and independent media with millions of followers from their platforms. This, along with fake news and foreign interference, is being cited by critics from both the left and the right as evidence that big tech has grown too big and too influential in the social and political discourse in modern society. And they are not wrong. We allowed these corporations to monitor our everyday activities, study our psychologies, and develop tools and products that are most responsive to our emotional states. This is not a conspiracy theory. Silicon Valley corporations have slowly morphed from technology firms into advertising networks. We've actually seen less innovation in tech and more development in big data analysis and mass surveillance. Advertising industry is growing bigger than ever, and it wouldn't be the case if digital marketing didn't work. Anything you see on these social media can be just a part of another marketing campaign. Google manipulates search, Facebook and Twitter filter and tweak feeds, and people's entire businesses can be destroyed overnight because of coordinated measures to ban them from these platforms. We need to be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that this is a very dystopian world to live in. It's not just a distant future, we already live in this dystopia. Something needs to be done, but is that something in public utility regulations?
Teddy Roosevelt 2019 has an economics degree, so I understand the concept of network externalities. I understand why Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google, all these social media companies are in fact monopolies. They're monopolies because each one of these platforms takes advantage of a concept called a network externality. A network externality occurs when the value of a product or service to one user is affected by how many other people are using that product or service. So think about how YouTube works. If one person, the original person on YouTube, posts a video to YouTube and no one knows about it, he has 0 views. Node here refers to the number of people posting content, and degrees refers to how many views, original views, who've never seen the work before. If one original content provider posts work to YouTube and no one else knows that it exists, YouTube, there'll be 0 views. What if a second person joins the network? Now you have 2 nodes, 2 different YouTube creators. Now you have 2 degrees. Each person, A and B, can watch each other's videos. What if a third person joins the network? Do the potential views double? No, they go up by more than double, because A, B, and C can all watch each other's work. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential views. What if a fourth person joins the network? Now there's 12 potential views, because D can view C's work, D can view B work, D can view A work, etc. What if you had a fifth person to YouTube? A fifth content creator? Now there's 20 potential views. What if there's 6 people on YouTube who are creating content? Now there's 30 potential people viewing original content. The formula to determine how many potential views exist if you have multiple people on a platform like YouTube is the number of degrees, which is potential views, is dependent upon the number of nodes, which is content providers squared, minus the number of content providers. So if you have 100 YouTubers creating content, they could create 9,900 potential views, because 100 squared, 100 times 100 is 10,000, minus 100, that equals 9,900 potential views on YouTube. The reason you subtract the number of nodes from the equation refers to the idea that it doesn't create much value to the network if a person watches his or her own video. So what is the actual number of potential YouTube views each day? Well, I typed into Google, number of YouTube views each day. They have 30 million people a day on the YouTube platform. 30 million squared minus 30 million is over 899 trillion potential YouTube video views each day. This is why people like Tim Black, Progressive Democrat, Diamond and Silk, Conservative Republican, and others are so upset when YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter dox them and go after their platform. This is why guys like Dave Dole get upset when their videos are demonetized. I watched the Rational National. He's one of the best sources for news in the country. He's upset because half of his channel was demonetized recently because it did not fit the new YouTube standards for collecting ad revenue.
We all know this happened, right? So that happened, and what I mean is that they deplatformed Alex Jones on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and a lot of people are cheering this. Finally, all this stuff, and we did a video where we explained about why this is not good, why this is a bad thing, and if you consider Facebook and YouTube to be the new public square, and you think they should be regulated, which we do. Because there isn't like, well, I'm gonna go to Acme's Facebook. Oh, I'll go to the other Facebook. There's no other Facebook. Do you see how that is? Hey, I'm gonna go to the other YouTube. There really isn't another YouTube. So at some point, these things become what we call utilities, right? Just like if the phone company said, I don't like that Alex Jones, I'm going to call out, I'm not going to give him phone service. You can't do that, right? So when people are saying, well, he said a lot of things that hurt people, well, then sue him. That doesn't. So people in jail on death row get to write newspaper articles. Did you know that? You don't lose the First Amendment doesn't get suspended because you're a dick. So we're actually going to talk about that in another video about all the stupid reactions to this from people who consider themselves on the left and don't understand how this stuff works at all. We're going to talk about that. But we've said on this show yesterday, that this isn't the end of it. No, it's just Alex Jones. You don't have anything to worry about. Remember that? If it's just Alex Jones, you don't have anything to worry about. And I said, yes, we do. People have come for us. Already. I've already been grouped in with a hit piece by CNN. That's Time Warner. That's a pretty big company coming after a little show like this and grouping me in the same article with Nazis, pedophiles, and him. That's already happened to this show. Why? Because we tell the truth about war. So now they use this guy and they go, oh, he's just like that guy. We're just getting rid of people who are just like that guy. Oh, well, that's okay then. That's not okay. And this isn't where it's ending. And you want proof this isn't where it... Here's a senator in the United States, one of the most powerful 100 people in the frickin' world. And here's what he says. InfoWars is the tip of a giant iceberg of hate and lies that uses sites like Facebook and YouTube to tear our nation apart. Huh? What? Did I effing tell you this is what is going to happen? Yes, we effing told you this is what was going to happen. That this isn't a slippery slope. This is predictable. Where it's going. It's not a slippery slope. It's predictable. It's not like, oh, we're not sure where this is going to end. No, we know. He says these companies must do more than take down one website. The survival of our democracy depends on it. He doesn't even understand what he's talking about. They're not taking down anybody's websites.
Right.
They're deplatforming people from the new public squares, which are Facebook and YouTube. YouTube is town square for video. Facebook is the town square for people talking stupid stuff at each other. Twitter is the new town square if you want to dunk on someone who said something stupid. That's all Twitter is, people dunking on each other.
Pinterest for good pasta salad recipes. I'm catching up.
All right, Instagram for stories now.
Stories.
Yeah, Instagram if you want to.
Snapchat.
Mm-hmm, if you want to see pictures of Kylie Jenner.
Mm-hmm. Can I have a counterpoint. Tell me when you'd like me to make it.
So I would like you to make it in 1 second, Katie.
Okay, yeah.
The survival of our democracy depends on it. So here's what Kyle Kulinski said, Mr. Secular Talk. He said, politicians are here to save you from bad speech. They're definitely not going to cynically use this issue to silence everything that threatens their narrative and power.
One relevant precedent for regulating social media companies such as YouTube and Facebook as natural monopolies was set in the U.S. court system in 2011 and the European court system in 2007. Microsoft was sued for using monopoly pricing and charging customers too high of price for its services in a class action case that was brought in the U.S. and European court system. And in the case, the plaintiffs made the argument that because Microsoft was operating in the late 90s and early 2000s on 95% of the world's personal computers, they had such a large network effect that they were so dominant in the market, they used that position of dominance to overcharge customers. Now, the network effect was very powerful for Microsoft in the late 90s and early 2000s because at that time, it was very difficult to interact with someone who had a PC if you did not have a PC. If you owned a Mac computer, for instance, and you wanted to compose a document and then email it to someone with a Microsoft Word computer or Microsoft Office, they could not open up your document and read it. Now later, programs such as PDF were invented to get around this issue, but the idea that you could email a document to someone and have them make revisions and email it back to you, that was impossible unless you had a Microsoft Word computer. And this network effect was so powerful, the federal court system agreed that Microsoft was indeed a natural monopoly, and they were charging too high a price to its customers. And you could fill out, I think it was the early 2000s, it was early 2000s, you could fill out, or late 90s. You could fill out a form if you had bought Microsoft Office from 1995, 96, 97, or 98. You could fill out a form and specify, hey, I bought 2 different versions of Microsoft Office, and Microsoft mailed everyone a check for roughly $30 per consumer purchase. I know the school district where I work got a check for, I think it was $287,000 as part of this class action settlement. So again, Microsoft had competitors. There were other programs to create spreadsheets or to create presentations like PowerPoint or to type up documents like Word documents. But their network effect was so powerful, they were indeed ruled to be a natural monopoly and subject to U.S. government regulation.
Hooray, hooray, I've got a lot to say. Whoops, I'm banned from the web today. Conspiracy theories are now derided, at least until the election is decided. Enough banning peeps from their speakering abilities. Make social media public utility, just like the phone. But today the phone is Twitter. We have to admit it and not be bitter. Just make social media public utilities. Why do peeps wanna trigger and grab me? I say mine and bitch you and gab me. Why do peeps wanna trigger and grab me? I say mines and bitch you and gab me. Enough banning peeps from their speakering abilities. Make social media public utilities. Enough banning peeps from their speakering abilities. Make social media public utilities. Enough banning peeps from their speakering abilities. Make social media public utilities. Make social media public utilities. Make social media public utilities.